Hello everyone, this is Chief here, and today, if you are going to follow along with me, I'm going to be working on some streaming stuff. Not streaming in terms of media, but streams in Node. Um, I'm going to be working a bit more with SMT, creating an SMTP interceptor, sorry, and there's actually quite a bit of stream management involved in this. So this is a really good basic use case for learning Node streams. And I have a pretty good grasp on Node streams, but I haven't done anything more than basics with them here and there. So this will be a good learning opportunity for me as well. So what I'm going to do today is a few things. So first, uh, what I have starting with here today is a basic SMTP server that I've created, and I know a lot of tutorials out there start with creating a stream first to read from. I'm actually going to start with consuming a stream first, and then we'll worry about creating one uh, a little bit later down the road. So the first thing that I'm going to do is consume messages from a service that from an application that needs an SMTP service to send notifications. So that will be my first stream. So the second thing I'm going to do is pipe that stream. So set up a uh, module to handle taking the input of that stream itself. So the server is one module, which I've got set up. So the second one will be actually taking that message input and storing it into a queue or a in-memory database of some kind. The third piece of this will be setting up a module to take the queue and process it message by message and resend it out in the same format that it came in as, and that'll be using a external program on the computer. So that will be creating a standard in, and we'll be utilizing standard in and standard out streams um, for that third party program. So to start with, let me just show you what I'm working with here. So I'll go to SMTP interceptor. I'm going to run npm start on this. And all this is doing is running a script that is Node, and it starts up my index.js file, which basically starts up a server, and the config option is what allows me to pass this port number with it. So that way I can pass in a port number that I want my SMTP service to listen to. So now I've got that server running, and all I'm going to do is I have a mailer.js file, and what it does is uses Node Mailer to format a basic email and then sends that email. Now the transporter within Node Mailer, the basic built-in transporter uses SMTP. If we were using something else, we would have to define our transporter. Some of them are built in. This one is just when you use create transport without any middleware, it uses SMTP. So I'm going to send this message, and it's going to tell me that message was transmitted, and the 250 OK is the 250 is the successful message received code. So the application sending the mail gets a 250 back from the mail server, which is equivalent to a 200 OK for HTTP. So let's look at real quick. This is our mail server's log, and you can see here it received the message, and it sent this nice to meet you banner, which is just a banner that you can set on response to this HELO or EHLO call. I think actually nice to meet you is the default one. And then we have our mail envelope that is broken up into a output. So each one of these, when you see this line where it says the date and debug, what we're doing is running this on connect, and the callback basically just returns the output to the standard out of the process that it's running on, which in this case is Node. So Node is just outputting the bits of the envelope received. So it's getting mail from, it's returning the 250 accepted, it's parsing the, chunking in the receipt to, each one of these is every time it says 250, 250, 250, it's a piece of data that it got from the application server. So you can see already with streams, everything doesn't come in one transmission, it comes in as data chunks. So it comes in piece by piece by piece. So that's the biggest thing that we need to handle within this SMTP interceptor that I'm building, is being able to identify what bits of data are part of a message. So what contains a whole message and what is just a partial message. Okay, so let's see, I've got my server. Most of the work that we're going to be doing, or that I'm going to be doing right off the bat here, is going to be within this forward message function. So whenever data is received, it's going to forward it to somewhere, or it's going to call this function, this forward message callback. That's the handler for the on data. Alternatively, you can see that what I'm doing within this is stream.onReadable. I actually don't need the function forward message to do that. The connection itself is data that's coming in. So the on data is a specific piece of the mail envelope that's being sent, whereas the mail server itself is an event emitter. So it's going to emit a stream is a type of event emitter, and a stream has different types of events depending on what type of stream it is. So there are 3 types of streams, or actually 4, but what you have are readable streams, writable streams, and duplex streams are your 3 main categories. So let's take a look real quick at the docs for this. Pull these up here. Okay, so what I'm pulling up here is in one tab, the API for streams, and in another tab is the actual source code for the stream handling of the server module of the SMTP server that I'm using. You'll see here that um, the SMTP stream, which is the function that equates to SMTP server, is inheriting the stream.writable interface, or it's implementing the stream.writable interface. So if we go over here to look at our streams, then it's going to emit uh, these events. It's going to emit drain, error, finish, pipe, unpipe, cork, and end. And then it also has a couple other methods. Or cork isn't an event; it's a method. Go to the top here. So we have these events: drain, error, finish, pipe, and unpipe. And likewise, we have with a readable stream, we have these events are emitted. So close, data, and error readable. So you see here util.inherits SMTP server and event emitter. This is what's called a composition pattern. So we're taking the prototype of event emitter, the public API of it anyway, and putting it on that of SMTP server. So anything that is automatically there on event emitter as part of its API, like will be accessible for this application author to use. So let's see where we have. I think what I'm looking for is just a readable. So something that is significant here is if you look at the stream.writable, you see that there's these events: event pipe, event finish, event error, event drain. And on the readable stream, we have pipe and read. So a readable stream is kind of like the other end of the writable stream. It's your implementation of receiving the writable stream on the other end of the buffer. Okay, so let's start here. When I take this line out, let's restart the server. Remember before we got everything worked okay. So I'm going to start the server. Whoop. And I am going to send it a bit of mail again. And notice now that nothing's happening. So when I go back here, I start to get the connection, but I'm not actually, once I get to the same part we got here, I'm not actually getting the data. So we have a stream coming in, and we're not actually doing anything with it. So if I handle that stream, so for right now, let's just say I'll pipe it to process.standardout. I'm actually processing that incoming stream. So when the stream doesn't actually start coming in until you perform some sort of read operation or tap operation on the stream. So now that I've done that, let's restart this server and go back here and notice that our message was queued. So we know that somewhere in here this forward message has to do something with has to process the stream somehow, and that whatever we do with it has to be some sort of either read or pipe operation. So the guts of this module are going to be right here. Going to pause here and check.